Welcome to the Neighborhood Pulse. We'll be going live in exactly 20 seconds. Exactly 20 seconds. Welcome to the Neighborhood Pulse. Wherever you are in life, you never forget the neighborhood. This is the show that talks all about real estate. Hear it from the industry professionals. Join hosts Kevin Callback from Realty Executive Cornerstones and Eddie Martinez from MSB to learn what the Neighborhood Pulse is. The Neighborhood Pulse airs right now live and Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. on 216net. Like, follow on Facebook. Like, follow, subscribe on YouTube as 216net's stretching for 1,000 subscribers. Of course, today all about taxes. Yeah, you may recognize her from the lady down the hall. I think she's got a show coming up just following you guys as well. This is Steph Conley from Steph's Books. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back.
Hey, Stephanie, welcome
you
aboard.
for
Thanks for coming
stopping
today.
by.
You're always amazing to be with, and we appreciate you coming on today.
Thanks.
That's it. And you talk all about money and taxes and all the things that nobody wants to talk about, right? And you're so vital in our business because we have to know that people make a couple bucks to buy a house. In order to get a loan from Eddie Martinez here at McHenry Savings Bank, he needs to know that they have some income as well, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I guess sure. Yeah, and make a couple bucks.
Who needs money to buy a house?
Right.
Have you watched HGTV?
That's right.
They're like, I pet butterflies part time, and I my budget's $1.2 million. So it's fine.
That's great.
It's kind of crazy, right? Oh my gosh, they can put up a house in a day or fix a house in a day, and I'm like, I can't get my house cleaned up in a day. Crazy stuff. So you're here today, and we're talking about income. So self-employed people, they are really tricky, or have been in the past. Especially during COVID, man, did they lock that down? It was just like if you were self-employed, you were jumping through hoops and such, right?
Yeah. Well, so a few realtors during the COVID time, and even some mortgage brokers needed to get current profit and loss statements, and some of them were even requiring a rolling 13 months.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of self-employed individuals out there that sometimes tend to wait till April 14th to gather up all their stuff to get it ready for April 15th. So they were having to produce financials that they weren't accustomed to in order to qualify for these mortgages and refis, because that was real popular this past year.
Gosh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Rates are still fantastic, but not historically low like they were, right? Excuse me.
Chokes it right up.
It does. You're choking me up, kid. The P&L, I'm not a big financial guy. P&L, it's the rolling 13-month period. What does all that mean?
Oh, so the P&L is their profit and loss statement. So that's where we take all of their revenue minus their cost of goods sold, minus their expenses, and then that would get them their net profit or loss.
Okay, so basically what you made, what you spent on the business,
Mm-hmm.
what you walked away with in your pocket at the end of the day.
Did you
tell Uncle Sam
totally does not equal what is in your
That's
pocket.
why he's not the financial expert today.
Your profit and loss statement regenerates every year. So every year you start from zero revenue, zero expenses.
Okay.
Your whatever is at the bottom of your profit and loss statement will never match what is in your bank account.
It
So,
should be.
because because sometimes if you had a real heavy expense year, like maybe you got some credit cards and you had to put some stuff on credit cards,
Right.
and you're showing a loss for the year. When some of those businesses show $5,000 to $10,000 in loss because they just had a higher volume of expenses, your bank is never going to allow you to go $5,000 to $10,000 negative in your checking account.
This is true, or at least just once.
Yeah, right.
And then that will be it. That'll be it.
So,
it's okay.
Steph, you do bookkeeping now. Obviously, you've been in the finance world for a long time. What got you interested in doing taxes? How long have you been doing it for? And just tell us what made you, what, this is the year, or this is what I want to do as well, aside from bookkeeping.
Well, it just kind of seemed like a natural progression. A lot of our clients were kind of looking for a one-stop shop. So some of our larger clientele was looking to not have to talk to 2 or 3 different people. And then some of our smaller clients just felt more comfortable talking to one person about their financials. So it just seemed like a natural progression for the business. And also with hiring some additional staff, that gave me the opportunity to start looking towards other revenue streams to keep everybody busy.
Right.
And so we started. So this year is our first year doing taxes. So I got my PTIN number, which makes me an authorized tax preparer. So I am not an enrolled agent. I am not a CPA. I am authorized to do taxes for individuals and for LLCs, sole proprietors. I cannot do taxes for incorporations right now, or LLCs filing as a sub S status. Okay. So hopefully I'll be able to sit for my enrolled agent exam next February, and then we'll be able to offer that come next tax season. But I did discover, in order to e-file taxes, it's a separate number that you have to get outside of your PTIN. And then you have to go get fingerprinted and everything. So I have the forms in my car. So I have to go to the police department to have my fingerprints registered and ran through the FBI database. So that should be fun.
Sure. Air quotes around that. That's why I had to be into police.
And then as far as training or to get your licenses, how was that process? How long did it take for you to be licensed and good to go?
Honestly, I just went on the IRS website and registered for the PTIN and paid $35.
Okay. And I'm guessing the experience is from life experience doing financing and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, so I've been doing bookkeeping for 19 years. I've worked very closely with a lot of CPAs. If I have a few CPAs that I'm very close with, so if during this transition time where we're starting to do tax services and starting to offer them, they've made themselves available to answer questions and kind of help mentor and guide me to make sure that everything is being facilitated properly. And the softwares that we use are specialized accounting softwares. So they do a whole check and error process. When I think I'm done, it will let me know if there's any missed check boxes or additional forms or anything like that. So it's pretty good. And plus Chase, one of my employees, she's been doing tax. She's had her PTIN for a couple of years, and she's been doing taxes for a few years. So she is
knowledgeable and just easy transition for
yeah. So she's a good resource for me as well. And we did our officially, as Steph's bookkeeping service, we officially did our first tax return yesterday.
Woo.
And so
first of many, right?
Yeah, nobody got arrested. Nobody's been audited yet, so it's good.
Bat 1,000.
If somebody's looking for a bookkeeper, what are some of the things they should look for, or questions they should ask? Is there some sort of rule of thumb?
I think softwares are a big thing. I would find out what softwares they're versed in and comfortable with, because we currently work with QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop, FreshBooks, Wave, Xero, and then a couple industry specific softwares for swimming pools and railroad companies. So I would find out.
I'm learning something today too.
I would find out what softwares they're comfortable in and they're versed in, and then I would also find out if they have a specialized niche. A lot of bookkeeping and accounting firms, well, I wouldn't say a lot, but there's some of them have specialized niches where some of them only work with realtors. Some of them only prefer to work with lawyers, and some of and some of them only do e-commerce.
Right.
So if you're somebody that I don't know, is like you sell Matco tools out of your truck, and you go to a bookkeeper or CPA that more specializes in professional services.
Right.
And not saying that they can't do a good job for you, because I'm sure they can, but there's special little tricks with that particular industry of owning a Matco tool truck that if you have never worked in that space as a bookkeeper or accountant, it may possibly be overlooked, or you might need to do a little bit more research on it.
Sure. As a realtors too, I mean, we get into 1031 exchanges and stuff like that. We want to make sure we're talking to the right people about things like that. So that's crazy. That's a lot of information, a lot of different software niches in real estate too. If you're equestrian, that's a specialty, because there's certain questions you got to know what that thing is they wear around their head, the horses, the bridles and the bits and the et cetera, et cetera.
Oh yeah, one of my clients, she has horses.
Yeah, that's it. Horses.
See a horse groomer that makes a lot of money, like a butterfly petter or something.
No, she does wealth investments, 401k.
Yeah. Now, taxes are important in real estate purchases because why?
Well, it shows what exactly you're making for your income. You talked on your opening intro about what their year-over-year P&L looks like, and I think from 2020 to 2021, we saw a lot of business owners who claim less on their taxes. So in turn, it's less that you qualify for. And I think when it comes to that is try and report an amount, or do an amount that you want to ensure that you're collecting a good amount of income to qualify for these loans that people are looking for right now.
Steph, what do you tell your business owners, right? So small business owner, Kevin's a small business owner, Eddie's a small business owner, you're a small business owner, and there's a lot of write-offs, right? So how do you instruct your clients who own businesses to, hey, we'll write everything off, or hey, because some people look at that, like a lender would look at that and go, I know you're making money, you're not behind on any payments, but you're showing no income.
Right. Well, I go through it and look at it from, usually on the back end of it is where they'll take those bigger write-offs, like inventory adjustments is a big thing. Like when they actually do their physical count, that could impact a large chunk of their profit and loss. Or if we're looking at collectible receivables, even though I know that banks, if they're getting a line of credit, don't look beyond 60 days, right?
Right.
So they'll qualify for anything 30 days or less. But when they're out there getting a loan and you're just looking at the profit and loss, and you're not really looking at the detail on the balance sheet, it doesn't necessarily sometimes make sense to take that right off of the bad debt expenses if you need to show a certain level of profit to qualify for what you're applying for, whether it's a home loan or I have a client that has to show certain levels of profits because she gets these additional grants and things for her business. So we have to be mindful when we're taking write-offs at the end of the year and what we're going to do. And there's holding accounts that we could put things in on the balance sheet to keep the business looking a bit healthier.
So you have kind of a conversation with the business owner. You'd say, okay, Kevin, what are we trying to do? Any goals coming up for the next year or whatever? And okay, you're not looking at maybe a big purchase or something. Maybe we look doing this, but I mean, do you give that kind of guidance to your clients, or do you just go, hey, Kev, whatever you want, you bet?
Now, usually our clients are pretty communicative about what their goals are and their plans. So usually if they're going to get a loan of some sort or looking for capital investors, we have to be mindful for a couple of years sometimes within those financials to keep things going and looking the way that they look. Another big thing that we take into consideration is equipment. So if they purchase a large piece of equipment, because usually there's like the end of year rush to purchase
Right.
like
Mhm.
the equipments and fancy things. So if it's something over like $1,500, we can put it on the balance sheet and we can depreciate it over a period of time of like 5 years, and they'll just take a little bit of depreciation expense, or we expense the whole item in year one because they're showing enough profit to take that whole write off.
Nice.
So there's all different strategies and things, and it depends on your industry a bit as well.
Oh, that's
Right.
awesome.
So, Eddie, question for you is: when somebody
That, of course, can only mean one thing. It's time for Martinez's Mortgage Minute.
Good afternoon, everyone. Popular question that I've been getting right now is, what is an ITIN loan? Individual Tax Identification Number. These loans are for people who are not eligible yet for a Social Security number. ITINs are issued to residents and non-resident aliens for tax reporting services. So I'm happy to announce that I have access to do these loans. If you're interested in getting more, if you're interested in getting more information, please call me at 815-331-6428, NMLS 437138. Again, a lot of my realtors that I work with, Kevin, you probably get asked, a lender that can do these ITIN loans? I myself don't know that many out there, but I'm happy to announce that I can do that service now.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's people have been asking for years, and now you're finally able to do it. So the rush is starting to come. I think people are starting to question it, but they're getting their paperwork ready. And I think this spring and summer for sure, I think this will be rocking, and I think it's going to be fantastic.
So, what type of people, when I say that, use an ITIN?
For resident and non-resident aliens.
Aliens. Okay, so you've been here for a while. Couple of years, whatever. You're earning a decent living,
right?
You're doing everything you can to live here in America, and in the past, or in several lenders, what you're saying is several lenders won't touch that good borrower.
No, they don't. They consider it possibly a riskier loan.
Okay,
but through research and whatnot, we found the door that can at least open those doors to individuals that have paid their taxes, save money, and just trying to make a better livelihood for them and their families.
For people that don't know, what is an ITIN?
An ITIN it's an individual tax identification number, same as a Social Security number, but it's issued to resident or non-resident aliens so they can do their taxes, report everything, just like a social, just a little bit different. But the lending for people with ITINs is not really out there yet as far as a popular loan. So this is something new that's come through my way
because they're not a citizen yet.
Correct.
They use their, what I'm understanding is they use their ITIN, ITIN, that is formatted and everything just like a Social Security, that they can open a credit card or whatever with, and that can report to the credit bureaus.
Typically, you'll see ITIN loans out there for auto loans, credit cards. It reports the same in your FICO score with the credit bureaus. So again, it's just a great opportunity for a lot of folks out there.
Fantastic, and that's I'm very happy that you guys are offering that. It is a fantastic service and well needed. So thank you for going through the steps to be a qualified lender to provide that.
Yeah,
so thank you for that for sure.
Beautiful.
So ITIN, there you go. Individual tax identification.
That's it. Of course, you're listening to 216net. This is Neighborhood Pulse, brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Realty Executive Cornerstones and MSB. And today, special guest is Stephanie Conley from, Steph's bookkeeping services. There's a part of her webpage. I'm just throwing some things up there. It's a beautiful, beautiful webpage, very interactive. You can ask a bookkeeper.
Yeah, I like that.
And then there's like a little calculator or something on here too, someplace.
Yeah, Rich made a pricing calculator, so everybody can.
It's really pretty cool.
Click on that, and then they can get a rough quote on bookkeeping services. And then I believe we also have our tax page is launched, and it has our pricing on there as well.
Nice.
So we try and be as transparent
Yeah.
as possible.
And Steph, for our listeners, how do people get a hold of you?
They could email me at stephsbooks.com. They could call me at 847-942-3004.
And you are a certified pro advisor for QuickBooks.
Yep. So every year we
That's
have
exciting.
to take a test and re-up our certification with QuickBooks.
Now, do you teach QuickBooks to people, folks? Like, is that part of anything you do, or is that just no?
We do offer limited training
Yeah.
for people. So I will show them how to navigate and work within the software.
Mhm.
And people just they just need to understand that I'm showing them how to operate a piece of software. I'm
Right.
not teaching them 19 years of bookkeeping.
Right. Oh,
So
absolutely, right.
like
Yeah.
that sometimes is the
You got paid to play for that.
misconception in that. I mean, I've been bookkeeping for 19 years. I also went to college and got my accounting degree. So
Right.
I've put in a little bit of effort into it, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. Definitely. Yeah, you're definitely did the long haul for sure. That's good stuff. Having education on what you do is so important these days, right? So many people out there that are flying by the seat of their pants and maybe not doing the best job. So a certified person like yourself, thumbs up. That's a
Yeah,
great
I
job.
think it's always good. I don't know if you ever see those memes on where they have like my friend can do it cheaper, and the tattoo artist has like
Right.
half the horse and it looks so beautiful, or a zebra, and the front half looks like Eli drew it. You know?
That is funny. Yeah, they could get some good commercials out there for sure. So being a good dealing with people's numbers, and I was starting to ask Eddie, as a business owner, what are some of the questions you're asking people? They say, "Hey, I'm self-employed. I
Right.
want to buy a house."
I think the most common questions is, for example, hey, I'm self-employed. I'll ask, how long have you been self-employed for?
Sure.
We typically look for a 2-month rolling of taxes to see what the 2 years look like, right?
Okay.
Or maybe you have a W-2 employee who's looking to become self-employed. Now you gotta wait maybe another year to qualify for a home if you don't have 2 years under your belt for self-employed purposes. So
Okay.
sometimes I ask these questions just to know and understand what their income history looks like, as important as their credit history as well. So
Right.
if you are asking the right questions, maybe when you meet with people, hey, are you looking to purchase a home today or tomorrow? Then that gives you an idea of what kind of budgeting they're looking for and what they need to show on their taxes as a business owner, as to just figuring out the numbers when you're a W-2 employee
Mhm.
and you've been doing that for 2-3 years or if not longer.
Right.
So like if there's a business owner that attempts to get their profit and loss as close to zero as possible, as many do,
That's tricky. Yeah.
with the taxes, do you guys take a look at their Schedule C and their K1 and in part of that, and then does that also attempt to
Their specialty.
help them kind of?
Yeah, we do take a look at the Schedule Cs, and that's where we normally will see if year over year, if there's a 20% or more dip
Mhm.
in their income, then it's harder to get those loans done. We also have access to do bank statement loans for business customers. That is a
Okay.
new
Those are
avenue
back.
for us
Yeah.
as well. What would you say about that, Ken?
So depending on which lender you're working with, if it's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, if it's somebody other than that, the Schedule C and the K1s, we know that a lot of business owners take advantage of write-offs, and we know that especially when they come in with maybe an 800 credit score, their credit is sparkling and there's no late payments. We know there's money someplace, so we've got calculators and ways that we calculate income from the Schedule C, from the K1s, from Section 4. I mean, there's a lot of things that we look at. We call it our 1084 calculator for self-employed people, and then we take a 2-year average. So we really kind of dissect the whether it's the business taxes or if it's right on their Schedule C. So we kind of take a look and we try to create as much income as we possibly can for them. However, if we can't, then that's where we would say, okay, you give us 24 months of your bank statements. Now, that's hurt us in the past too, because hey, if it's going through my bank account, I'm going to get taxed on it. So you get somebody who might be they build decks or something, and people are paying them cash. So, we'll just put that in the old shoebox under the bed, and not report that at all. So, we sometimes Eddie really, right, and MSB have tried everything we can to make it as easy for people to get a mortgage as possible. But sometimes, especially with small business owners, they take every advantage of every loophole possible to not have to report income to pay taxes, right? And then that leaves them kind of short pants.
It's like it hurts them and helps them, but what's more important at the end?
Yeah.
And when you're looking at a large transaction, then that's where it hurts the most.
Yeah. We take a look at depletion. We take a look at depreciation. We take a look at
rental
everything,
income, expenses,
everything out there. So
how do you take into consideration when say they got a big piece of equipment, they got to buy a tractor or something? Now that thing's going to last 10 years. So it's a one-time expenditure for 10 years. Mm-hmm. When you look at that, you kind of take that out of the equation.
And no, I think that's where we get creative, and we might get our commercial team involved, because that's, maybe more of the lines with that as far as equipment, and, if they have, some kind of property for their business as well, then we explore other avenues. But we look at everything and just try and find the best solution for them that's right for them. Might not be the best answer that they're looking for, but we'll provide them with at least some solutions or things to do going forward.
Right.
That's Stephanie's area. If she decides not to depreciate that over 10 years, then we don't alter tax returns. We just take the information from them. So if the tax specialist says, well, okay, we'll take it all to this year, then we're stuck with that.
I mean, usually it's not an item of that large of a dollar value. I mean, I'm talking about like a computer or something, like something that's like a few $1,000s. I'm not talking like a bit, like if you're going to get like an excavator and pay, what are those now, like going for like 45, 50,000 for a used one. So like when you buy that, something like of that size, you could still take an accelerated depreciation on it, but you should still save some of that, for the couple of years, because it's still a valuable asset of the company.
If we're doing a bank statement loan, yes, we do. We will take a look at that one-time big hit and go. That's why we ask for 24 months of bank statements. We'll get the average and see what's moving in and out over the last 2 years. And if you make that one big purchase and it depletes it, we still know what the income is. Right. The cash flow on that account.
Right.
So, Kevin, when you are like, if I'm looking to buy a house,
yes,
then with me being,
what do you need?
with me being self-employed,
yes.
Are you more pressing for the pre-approval letter with self-employed people versus W-2 people, or you treat it all the same way?
All the same. So you have to have pre-approval, proof of funds, down payment saved up. If you're getting your tax returns coming, that's going to be your down payment. Then could be like, okay, that's your down payment. We'll need that in a month or two, but we definitely need that pre-approval, especially as COVID's wrapping up here. We don't want to bring people into somebody's home that maybe expose them to some germs, whether it's COVID or flu or anything else, if they're not pre-approved, right? And now we're showing people homes that they might not be able to afford. Mm-hmm. And then we go, you like it? And they go, yeah, I love it. Let's get it. You're like, yeah, you can't afford it. You can afford this though. And they go, no, I don't like that one. I'm like, oh, that's your budget.
Wasn't it like way back in the day? Wasn't the rule of thumb that you just take your like annual income and multiply it by 3, and that was like roughly what you would qualify for, right?
Yeah, back in the day, it was.
Yeah.
It was. Depending on interest rates, taxes in Illinois are kind of
not
this house is beautiful. Can I have it? No, we're gonna go look at the shed in the back. That's what you can call it.
Pull in the driveway. Your house is back here.
This thing's huge. It's a townhome, so you get the left side.
That's right, that's right. I'll tell you, and definitely, if you folks talk to your lenders, talk to Eddie Martinez here,
Yes.
get pre-approved before you go
Yes.
shopping for a home, because there's nothing more heartbreaking than finding a home that you love that you can't afford.
So you think they should start with I guess with
I think they should
me,
start with you for sure.
get their profit and loss, and then
Absolutely.
we could sign off on it as a bookkeeping firm.
Right?
So it's
be a
signed
third
off on the
party.
financials, and then they send all that to Eddie,
Eddie,
and then Eddie calls you, and it's like, okay, this is what
that's what they can afford.
you get.
You can take them shopping. That's what they say. Yeah, you can take them shopping.
Third party certified. Very, very important.
So for someone that's interested in getting into doing taxes, tax preparations, what advice do you have for them? What will your words be today to inspire them?
Oh gosh, that's a tough question
Run.
because I'm just starting. I guess I would say do your research and pick. Again, I'm going to go back to software. Software is so huge because there's probably 30 different tax prep softwares.
You know what I mean?
If you know
Right.
what I mean.
And so I would always research your softwares, make sure you're comfortable with your softwares that you're about to use before you start offering the service. I would definitely recommend doing continuing education classes because prior to offering tax services, even though I'm not required to as a bookkeeper, I still was taking continuing education classes and seminars, maybe not on tax prep in prior years. We were doing things like about onboarding and policies and procedures and things like that. And we were listening to people talk, but now this year we'll probably be more focused on tax prep, tax services. And
Yeah, I think that's the nature of the beast is keeping yourself educated, whether it's real estate lending, bookkeeping, tax services. That's just how you stay on top of the game with our ever-changing economy and how things are being done these days.
It's kind of what you look like for in a doctor too, right? Somebody a doctor that's been doing it for a while, has the experience, has continuous education, has that experience, right? So same thing here is now what do you
Well, that means the second thing. It's time for your callback.
That's it. Here you go with the callback. Happy Freedom Friday. Break the chains for what binds you today. Today we're talking about spring cleaning. It's that time of year where homes are starting to pop on the market. Buyers are out there. They're driving around neighborhoods. Make yours pretty. That snow has just been gray and nasty, and your lawn is brown. And start cleaning things up. Start raking up the leaves. Start cleaning it up. I don't know how much snow we're going to get still, but it's still a good time to get those leaves out of the corners and spruce it up and let things start to bloom. Make sure your windows are clean so they're not seeing all that grease and grime and dirt from the outside weather and what have you, kids, nose prints from the pets, etc.
Power washer, garage door.
Washer, that's right. Power washer, garage door, your sidewalks. Those are some of the things you can do, but talk to your local professional to see what's going to work best for you. Staging is always an option, but remember that's not free, folks. So when you call up and you say, yeah, I want staging, there's an expense for that.
You should have a guy that's a landscaper on here because Mike could use a good thatching.
That's it. Jose Gaona Landscaping. He's
bring
amazing.
him
I'll tell you, I'll come up. He is amazing. Does great work.
I use the pressure washer
Right.
for the first time.
Awesome.
It was you could see all the swirls now.
Right.
I don't think I did it right. I think that's like a skill.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I wrote Rich a love note on the back of our house.
Still there.
It's still there. All his friends came over for a barbecue and saw it.
There you go. Love you long time. That's it. That's crazy but true. That's it. But and ask your agent for any of those resources. They should have that for you. And get people that are experienced. That's it. Thanks for coming again, Steph. And here we are, Mortgage Minute or Freedom Friday.
Freedom Friday. We're all over the place.
And Kevin, for the listeners out there, how do they get a hold of you if they're looking or interested in getting a home today?
Give us a call, 708-277-3913. Email us at callkevink@gmail.com. Thanks,
Kevin,
sir.
what questions come in from a listener? What's the status of all the inventory out
Well,
there?
I'll tell you.
Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? What
Yeah.
does it look like out there?
It's rough. I've got some people that are looking to sell their homes. They're looking at other areas, Sussex, Wisconsin, and Apache, Arizona. And so we connected with some realtors out there, and he's like, "Hey, he's not sending me properties. What's going on? Is he paying attention to what my needs are? Does he know that I exist?" I said, "Yeah, there's just nothing to send him." So you show him, hey, here it is. There's nothing out there. So if you're looking to sell, now is definitely the time. We are seeing more homes pop on the market. We bid 20 grand over on a house the other day and lost. We bid 10 grand over last night and lost. So the prices, be ready to pay a premium, but take advantage of those awesome interest rates. And
I'm selling.
Don't definitely don't get yourself in a position where you way overpay and you're stuck for years or your house.
You know too many realtors. You can't sell. You piss
That's right.
somebody
You
off.
just
I'm
said
gonna send you
everyone
by
needs to
owner.
start
By
calling
owner.
right? No, I feel like for people looking to buy, you're like one of those stars in the sky.
Right. That's it.
What is it
You
called?
know,
It's called co-listing, right? How many realtors can you have on a co-listing?
It's at 40.
Right. Oh yeah.
That's it. And Steph, if they want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
847-942-3004 or email me at steph@stephsbooks.com or fill out our pricing calculator at
There
stephsbooks.com.
you go. Yeah, absolutely.
That's always
Yep. And
No.
you'll have the link on our site there.
Yep.
You're awesome. So you also click
Are
that.
you providing services mobile, or just come see me at the office, or
Oh, so people can call and make an appointment, and they could sit there while we do their taxes. Or we also have a drop-off service where you guys can come drop off the paperwork and documents that we need, and my team will scan it all into our system, and then we'll do the taxes, and then you'll come back a few days later and pick up your papers.
How do you help those folks that like I used to be, and I have everything written down on a napkin, and I come here and I go, "Can you fix this?" do you do you take the shoebox of receipts and stuff and go, "All right, I'm gonna take care of this," but
for
oh
a
my
higher
gosh.
price?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Jesus,
I
okay.
have a client in actually in California. He mails us his receipts.
Okay.
So I probably have to go to my post office box. It's probably there now. But
Come in a shoebox.
yeah, well, he sends it like in a big bag, so like a lunch bag, So we get all of his receipts.
Yeah.
But now what we do is if they could get us clean bank statements, like readable PDF bank statements, I have software that I can just convert those statements, those credit card statements, bank statements into Excel, and then I could just put some formulas in and make my own profit and loss
Wow.
without having to go like receipt by receipt by
Yeah.
receipt. So
That's
yeah.
it. Do you guys do that? Take a picture of the receipt and it records it type thing?
Well, QuickBooks has that on the back end of their software. So if you have QuickBooks Online, you could take a picture of your receipt. It automatically integrates with your QuickBooks account, and then it will attach the PDF to the expense as it comes through your bank feed.
Right.
And then there's another software, Expensify. There's I don't know. There's probably like 80 different softwares for receipt tracking, but yeah, you could do that and make it digital.
The one thing I do love is the mileage tracker.
Mhm.
It records it all for you. So you just hit, yep, that was business, that was not, this was business, this was not. And that's fantastic because when my agent,
Any
my
one of those.
tax guy asked me, "How many miles did you drive last year?" I'm like, 25,000. He's like, "Really? That's a red flag." I'm like, "Oh, that's what I drove, right?" So I don't know, but that is amazing. So I'm glad you're using QuickBooks.
That's a
with that
red
feature.
flag. Don't work so much.
That's right. Don't
I don't know. I mean, like,
Right. There are some things that trigger.
You made
there
more
are there things that
mileage.
trigger like
Right.
certain things. Like the IRS is like, "Oh, this guy, that red mark."
I mean, like if you consistently, I can't say exactly 100% that there's a formula to it, but if your business consistently shows losses for 3 or more years in a row, I've seen that those people tend to get picked for random audits. That's what the IRS will call it, as a random audit.
After the
So
call, they're gonna call.
That's right.
so if that happens, if your mileage seems egregious, I only know one person that happened to, but I feel like there was more
More
pieces to
it.
that
Yeah, right.
puzzle. But all they're gonna do is they're just I mean, it's 58 cents a mile. So all they're going to do is just ask you to look at, like, they might look at your Jiffy Lube receipts and see like the
It all
comparative,
matches
because it
up,
puts the
yeah.
miles on there,
Sure.
and they could kind of gauge it and guess from there. I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm a bookkeeper, but I get my oil. I put 6,000 miles every 2.5 months on my car.
There you go.
So, I mean, not all of it's business, but I mean, I drive a lot. And when I
Yeah.
worked in construction, I was putting like I was putting probably close to 40,000 miles a
Wow.
year on my car when I was in construction.
That's a lot. That's a lot
So
of
it
miles.
is what it is.
It is what it is. That's what I say, but that's what I ever drove. So I don't know what to tell you about that. Huh.
But yeah, as long as you have some reasonable amount of proof, that's usually a good thing. The biggest thing that I see people get dinged for in the middle of an audit is when you mix and mingle your business and personal accounts.
Yep.
And it's so difficult to decipher then, because there's so many stores and services out there that can be used for both business and personal. Like,
Yep.
like Walmart is an example where you can go there and buy, you know, groceries, but you could also go there and buy a computer.
Or a shotgun.
Yeah, or a shotgun.
Even Walgreens. You
So-
go there, get photos, right?
Right.
Paper supply, you name it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I always tell people you can't have your personal accounts, no matter, even if you're a sole proprietor, I always tell them to get a separate bank account to run all their business transactions through.
It's a good idea. That's actually one of the best ideas ever. It's true.
Nobody's told you that?
No, they did tell me that,
Oh,
because I was
okay.
like, well, you know, I don't. Yeah, here we go. We just wipe everything. Everything's coming out of both. And
So
was nice.
earlier you talked
So stop
about
that.
having great software. Is it safe to say that it's better to spend a little more to offset the time that it would take to do something when you have great software that integrates with other systems that you're already using?
It will help make it more efficient. We actually kind of went over this on my show a week or two ago when we did the old school versus new school with the softwares. I would take a look at what the softwares provide and the integrations, but there is such thing as having too much software. You know, like you could have if some people have apps that do their contracts, then they have ones that do their receivables, then they have ones that do their scheduling and dispatching, then they have their accounting software. Like for me, I would rather pay a little bit more money per month and have all three of those other components of the
In
contracts, receivables, and dispatching in one software versus having 6 different subscriptions and trying to find stuff.
And then passwords and
Well, you have that, and
all
then
that,
and then if they don't talk to each other, then you have to manually input the data into 2 or 3 places, and then that just creates like very inefficient
and headaches.
system.
yeah, time consuming, etc. Right? Blah, blah. There you go. So what? When people buy a house, are there certain things they can write off at the end of the year? I know you're not fully into all that, but
I mean, they like their mortgage interest.
Right.
I know that their property taxes go on there. If they're self-employed and they're working out of their house, a percentage of their house and utilities can be written off.
nice.
So that's a big thing. So you could see and take either an itemized deduction on those home office expenses, or you could take the standard deduction. So I would calculate it both ways to see what's more beneficial
Right.
to your situation.
And then the first year they buy, they can write off like the attorney, all their expenses in order to purchase the home become a write-off too, right?
That I would have to confirm, but maybe.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's great. That's great. Because like, yeah, I've heard that. So that's it. Crazy stuff. I'll tell you.
Always
it's-
check with your professional.
Professionals, absolutely. Yeah, that's it. And how are you?
Good.
So another question out there as we're getting back towards the back end of this. Let me see if I can understand this. Interest rates seem to be going up. Is this a good time to purchase or get a mortgage, or should we wait?
You know, I was thinking about switching up my mortgage a minute, but I'll talk about it now since it's a question that came up. Is right now we saw rates at a slight standstill. The average 30-year mortgage rate out there as of today is somewhere in the neighborhood of 6.10% for a 30-year, 3.4% for a 15-year. Versus last week that we saw that the last 2 weeks we saw that massive spike in rates. So right now, if they're at a standstill or if you think they're going up, but they haven't, then just take advantage. Right now is the time. If you look at rates 10, 15, 20 years ago, they were a lot higher than where they're at now. So take advantage. Call your lender, your local lender, someone that you trust that's in the finance world to give you that best answer. Do some research. You can Google some of this stuff. And if not, you can call 815-331-6428, MNLS 437138, Eddie Martinez with MSB to give you the best answer possible.
Well, when Rich and I bought our house, we kind of like whatever the rate was it is because we sold our townhouse and we had to move, so we didn't have a choice. But when the rates recently had gone down, we then took advantage of the refi and we were able to shave 10 years off the mortgage by doing that. So I mean, even though they might pay a slightly higher rate right now, who's to say they won't drop again? And when they do, then cut off part of that term, and then that would save you on that interest overall.
No, I agree. A lot of people, my advice is see if you're qualified, see if you can get your home now. As Steph just said right now, rates are up. They're going to go down later.
Yep.
Or make your payments, take care of your credit, do your due diligence, and then refinance when it's the best time for you to shave off a couple of years from your mortgage as well.
That's it. Or have somebody assume your mortgage if they're higher later.
Yep.
There we go.
There we go. Wrap her up.
Of course, that music means we're done. This has been the Neighborhood Pulse here, 21.6 and Ed, and our good friend Stephanie Conley from Steph's Bookkeeping Service, www.stephsbooks.com. Taxes, you got them. You need to pay them or get your money back. Check her out. Give her a call. She's now a tax wizard.
That's right.
For all your home needs, you're going to list your house, move, sell, buy, whatever it is. You're going to reach out to Kevin Callback over at Realty Executive Cornerstones. And if you need to borrow money to buy a house, go talk to Eddie over there at MSB. For all of us here at 21.6 Net, thanks for visiting the Neighborhood Pulse. We'll see you next week.
Amen. That's it. Good deal. Good deal.